Hi, Hi. There we go. Hi, welcome to the Peak News. I'm Hyam Goldman, the Watchman. Thanks, Seth, in the booth for punching us up there. Welcome to the Peak News. It's Wednesday, which means it's Faith and Family Wednesday, and we're doing live radio here. So, it comes as it comes. And excited to have you here. We have a great guest who we just found out about a day or two ago because local high school student who was featured in Best and Brightest in the Gazette. And when I read the article, always looking around for good stories and great local people to bring on. And thankfully, she was able to come in today, and we'll introduce her in a moment on this day where when we do this, faith and family, sometimes they're combined, sometimes they're not. Today is really about bringing together the community. Because we should be a family as a local community. That would be the goal, right? That we're all looking out for each other, that we're all working toward each other's good. But in a world that is so disconnected, that's hard. And that's why we really started the Peak News. We wanted to do a project that would shine the light all over the community because that's what media is supposed to do, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the reason we have a citizen journalist model is we really feel that the community should determine what goes on here, even within the media, and the stories that are told should come from us. I know this is really novel, where we've turned basically our whole lives over to these nameless, faceless people that we then complain about. But I figured let's take it back. And so that's what we're doing here at the Peak. And if you want to know more, other than listening to our program Monday through Thursday here on AM 1460 and FM 101.1, The Answer on the Salem Network here in Colorado Springs, is to go on our website, thepeak.news, find out all about us. And we actually launched something new today, which is really, really exciting for the young people in the area. And I will get to that in a minute. I know I keep saying I'll get to that in a minute, but there's just so much to talk about. First thing I want to do, because we always like to do shout outs to our sponsors, and please patronize our sponsors. We will hear their ads throughout the program. You can go on the website and find them too. But one of our new sponsors as of about a month ago is Mayweather Boxing and Fitness here, a new boxing workout facility in the Springs. It's actually owned by Roland Rainey, who just became a new city councilman here. And as part of promoting on the show, I said, Roland, doing radio, I'm getting a little flabby. How about you give me a membership? I'll come in, work out, and then talk about it on the air and do promos. So I love a boxing workout. Used to do it years ago, and it's really great. It's intense, really good classes, instructors, group of people. And so if you're into that kind of workout and you want something that changes up all the time, I recommend go to Mayweather.fit. That's the website for the whole franchise, but the only one, I think it's the only one in Colorado at this point, is over on Prominent Point, over on Powers and Union, in that area over there. And go there, hit Colorado Springs, and you can go in for your first workout free. But I really do recommend it, and excited to go there, and actually starting to see some development in the arms and the chest, which is nice. But we'll see how that turns out. I'll have my wife review things for you. Secondly, we've been talking about this for a while, is that we're going to be teaching journalistic ethics and media vocational training in the high schools here in D11 starting in August, and we're looking for as many students as possible to get into the class. So if you have a student, doesn't have to be in D11, can even be homeschool, go on our website, thepeak.news. You'll see the link to this CTE career training, and join us there. It's going to be really exciting. So before I run out of time, our guest here on Faith and Family Wednesday is Irene Wich, Rampart High School senior, who has turned her love of music into a way to create a culture of connectivity in her school band community and beyond. And we're going to be talking about a culture of connectivity throughout the show. So Irene Wich, thanks so much for coming on the Peak.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here and to be able to talk about my experiences.
Yeah, it's exciting to have you here because this is interesting. Taking something that that is sort of, common, just band, but
Mm-hmm.
thinking about more than just playing the music, how does this really connect us and how can we grow and how can we be a community? And then to take those lessons to old folk like us and tell us, you can do this too. So you're listening to The Peak on Faith and Family Wednesday. We have Irene Wich talking about a culture of connectivity. When we come back with the headlines segment, we're going to be getting into faith and family headlines. And then Irene will be talking about her marching band mission. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. We'll be right back with The Peak. Cool. So now you're going to be on next. So,
Got it.
okay, so we have a 4-minute break. I'm going to look at these articles really quick so that I know what I'm talking about here. And then just, it's your opinion, it's your take, it's your whatever. Again, not the headline segment is not really, again, about the news so much. I mean, unless you have something very specific you want to say. So, are you faith person?
I am not.
You're not. Okay. So, do you have anything to say on the Pope or Catholics or anything, or should I do that myself and then come to
Not,
you?
yeah, not particularly.
Okay.
But for the other two, I
Okay.
definitely do.
So I'll do the Pope thing real quick, and then National Volunteer Week. Do you have some ideas about what you might talk about there?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. And then this thing on the how much restaurant servers are paid. Let me review. What about this tipped wage credit? This is a new thing to me. Um, do you work also?
Um, I tutor, but it's
Okay.
not like a paid state.
Okay. So that's a volunteer thing you do?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we're back in about a minute. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to us on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The answer today is Faith and Family Wednesday, and we're talking about a culture of connectivity with Rampart High School senior Irene Wich. And thanks again for being here, Irene.
Of course, glad to be here.
So this is our headline segment, and so we're going to get into some faith and family-oriented headlines. First of all, as this is our first Faith Day since Pope Francis died on Monday. We need to mention that. We want to mention that Pope Francis, you've most likely heard this, and our condolences out to the Catholic community in our area for losing your leader, and now the cardinals are getting together to pick another pope. And, this is interesting in an area where it's very Christian and conservative overall. The margin has slipped through the years, but it's still, our area is quite Christian. And so there's always this debate about, is Catholicism a form of Christianity? Is it owns a separate thing? Why does it have a pope and all of those, all of that? And I was interested to look up in the statistics for El Paso County that while there are, I guess, about 850,000 people, there are 121,000. This is according to the 2020 statistics. Last time it was counted, 120,000 plus Catholics in our area, actually more than non-denominational Christian churches. But when you add everybody else in and get to that final total here, so there's a lot more Catholics here than I thought, and yet there are 21, at least at this time 5 years ago, 21 congregations as opposed to over hundreds of the others. And so I don't know what that means in our community. We seek to be ecumenical here and get along, and whether these faiths are compatible. We've heard in the condolences, certainly when anyone passes away and someone cares about them, that should be the most important thing. But whether there should be a pope, what does that mean if you're a believer in Jesus, that you have a pope, and what role does he play? And also that it was somewhat controversial because it seemed to me, as someone who's Jewish, and I'm a Messianic Jew, and so I come studying a lot of different faiths, is that this pope seemed to be more of a social justice person than even standing up for what people would say is classic, traditional Christian doctrine. And so who they choose next will be interesting. And, what do you think? Do you think that this really affects how things go in the United States? And are most Catholics really even paying attention to that? But again, our condolences to the community, because obviously a person who holds great weight and influence within that. So moving on to other more family-related and community-related things to align with our guest. This is, I didn't even know this, but it's National Volunteer Week this week, as well as it was Earth Day yesterday. Nonprofit sector spotlights essential contributors in Colorado Springs. This is an article with Debbie Kelly, who's a friend of mine at the Gazette. But Irene, you were telling me that you're someone who's very, very active in your community, and also you volunteer. What is your message out to those who take the time, especially high school students who are so busy, and if they are going to do anything other than school, they generally want to make some money.
Yes.
But volunteering, like we do have volunteer interns here at the Peak. In fact, Seth is volunteering, running the booth right now, getting experience and helping us do the show. So what's your message to the volunteers out there?
Yeah, I think it's really cool that there are so many volunteers and that there's a week to recognize it. And for all of the high school volunteers who are out there who are using their time along with doing all of the schoolwork that it takes and all of the extracurriculars, it's really important to know just how big of an impact volunteering really has. Because you might not see it directly, but just being there and showing up and helping in your community is really great. And it plants a seed to help other people that you might not see, but it's really important to understand just how helpful you are, and sharing all of that energy and that time that you have, it really brings light into this world. And I think it's really important that some people know that, and that it's there, especially because it's Volunteer Week and Earth Day was yesterday.
So I mean, you obviously volunteer for the marching band, right? Not a
Yes.
paid position, but you
Mhm.
all and you told me you tutor. So give people your experience and what it's meant to you, both from helping others and the practical life experience you get.
Yeah, so volunteering with the marching band is a lot of spending a lot of time before and after practices, making sure that everything is well prepared. And so it takes a lot of just time and being there to help with props and help other people and setting up because an organization with over 100 plus people, it takes a lot and volunteers are needed. And we also have parent volunteers who are just as helpful and they carry our marching band. And then as well, I volunteered for the Challenger Aerospace Adventure Camp. And that is where I help younger elementary students learn over the summer about like the moon and about space and wonderful activities. And that's a great experience to learn working with younger people and being able to strike passions, and so I think it's a very cool experience.
And tutoring?
And tutoring, yes. So I've spent lots of time tutoring with other people and helping them prepare for things, especially as someone now who has more free time as a senior. I can use that time to help academically as
Are
well.
there specific subjects that you tutor in?
Mostly math. I am definitely a math person
Okay.
over writing, and English, but I am there to help with anything, along with like projects during school because those can be tough on how to find a topic. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for all of that. I hope those of you who say I don't have time for this, can know there's always time. It's how you allocate it. Okay, finally, Colorado legislature passes bill punting to local governments on how much restaurant servers are paid. This is out of the Colorado Sun. House Bill 1208 passed the legislature, and it's waiting for the governor's signature. And overall, trying to wrap my mind around this, there is minimum wage, as we know, in the state, and a lot of business owners, are upset with how high it is because obviously those costs have to get passed on to the consumers. It puts prices up. Or what we're
Mhm.
seeing, if you've pulled into a lot of places lately, they're using AI, and so they're
Right.
actually it may be paying those who are working more, but overall it's limiting the number of jobs, especially entry level jobs. And so there was a bill in order to raise these things, but in the end, when it was amended, and now that it's gone to the governor, is doing something where. Let me see. The measure, should it be signed by the governor, would give local governments in parts of the state where the minimum wage is higher than the state's minimum the option to increase the tipped wage credit. And so when you're in a restaurant, you don't have to pay minimum wage because you figure there's a level of tipping. And so
Mhm.
what that discrepancy is and what it can be, this measure would now allow it to be more controlled on the local level because certainly economies are different on the local level. Minimum wage could end up higher. It could end up lower. But as a student, someone, these are those entry level jobs that give great experience. But, for me, when you raise the prices up, I've seen actually fewer jobs getting replaced by kiosks. So
By
we have less
chaos.
than a minute. What's your take on, minimum wage
Yeah, I
and entry
mean,
level jobs?
as a high school student and someone who has lots of friends who work minimum wage jobs, it's really important to keep in mind that that money is being used, and especially someone preparing for college. Every dollar counts, and while we're raising it, um, there have been many issues with the AI that I've seen over the past couple weeks, which there's been some funny videos too of like the AI not completely doing the same amount of precision that an actual person would. So in that case, I think it's very important that minimum wage is seen as something that helps. And so yeah.
Okay. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. You're listening to The Peak on AM 1460 and FM 101.1. The answer, it is Faith and Family Wednesday. We have Irene Wich, Rampart High School senior, who wants to create a culture of connectivity. And when we come back, Irene's going to be talking about her marching band mission. This is The Peak. We'll be right back. Cool. So you have 3.5 minutes. If you don't have your bullet points, please jot them down.
I have them.
Okay, cool. So again, I'll give you 3, 2, 1, and just try to, talk, fill it in.
Mhm.
If you want to take time to write more content there, if you have your thoughts. It's always good to be able to look down and remember what you want to say.
That is a good point.
And so you have 3 minutes to do that. And then we'll let you go.
Cool.
Let's set you free.
For the last part, did you just want to make it like another interview on? Do you have a topic in mind?
I don't. It's more, it's you, so
Um,
was there anything that's come up that you go, you know what, I
I think
wanted
like volunteering and crafting. Now that you mention it, because like
crafting?
yeah, because you there's many ways where you can make crafts and like donate them to like hospitals and stuff,
Okay.
and that's something that especially
Okay. Yeah. We
um
cover, I mean, it is volunteer week, so we can double it back to that. I think we covered volunteering, a bunch.
um
So crafting, doing crafts, is that something that you've been
yeah,
doing?
I am definitely a crafty person. I
Okay.
think.
So what type of crafts?
So I've made miniature Japanese houses. They're very
Huh?
tiny and very detailed. I've also made like pillows made out of plastic bags. So instead of like throwing those away, you can like donate them. I've also like made blankets and crafts for like
Okay.
Humane
And then
Society.
you give them or sell
hmm
them, you
I don't
put them
sell
in
them.
there?
I'll donate to the Humane Society or like to
Okay.
hospitals.
Okay.
And then the Japanese
So
houses I keep.
okay. So how about how did you get into crafting? Get into crafting. Okay. What what do you prefer? What types do you do?
And I do a lot of painting.
Okay.
And that's a nice summer activity too with the you
Okay.
can paint outside.
And then giving them to people,
Mhm.
give
Make someone's day better.
them as gifts. Okay. Okay. Cool. Well, okay, 1 minute left. So this. Okay. And so you're Japanese and German? Is that your heritage?
I'm actually Korean.
Korean. Okay.
But we
Yes.
very
Thank you.
involved.
I don't know if you guys have talked about, but I figured you
Oh yeah,
talk
that's
about
that's
those
true.
first.
We can go. Yeah, for sure. Maybe right at the end. After this is this. Oh, okay. What? Yes. Where I'm going to be teaching broadcast journalism and
Cool.
journalistic ethics in D11. So
Oh,
we're starting to promote it out to students. So we can maybe
nice.
give you some flyers and take them to
Yeah, no,
people
I
that might be
definitely.
interested in, because it's an automatic internship with us and doing
Oh,
stuff.
I
So
will
it's going to be
definitely do
really
that.
cool.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Thanks.
for sure.
Welcome back to the Peak News, broadcast all over the Pikes Peak region. And no, we're not here to lie to you. We're here to bring you information, the truth, and help you figure out, how you want to lead your own life. We apologize for our media colleagues who have abandoned what the media is supposed to be, but we decided let's bring it back here in Colorado Springs. Let's do it here on the local level, and let's bring that back, because it's really, really, really important that we trust our news media again. I know it might be a long slog to get back there, but one step at a time, one broadcast at a time. Well, we have here on Faith and Family Wednesday, Irene Wich, Rampart High School senior, who has turned her love of music into a way to create a culture of connectivity in her school band community and beyond. And I'm going to turn it over now to Irene to talk about her marching band mission. Irene Wich.
Yeah, so the thing that I want to talk about here is marching band, especially for those who have not experienced it. It's really hard to understand how much connectivity is really a big aspect of marching band when you are just hearing about it instead of being in it in yourself. So I joined when I was a freshman, and this was following COVID, and because of that, I gained a passion for connectivity with the other people there, And I really looked up to the student leadership team and everyone who was there and the directors, and I really wanted to emulate them. And that's something that I hadn't experienced before, especially following middle school. And I was just thrown into this group of people who were very excited to build something and to create a beautiful performance with many people. Um, and so the thing that I think is very unique about marching band is you all have individual responsibilities, but it comes together to make this one big performance, and in the end it does all require an amount of teamwork. And in the end you're just competing with yourself. Um, and so with that connectivity, I decided to implement some traditions into the band. So there are these things called parachute cord bracelets, and I added this as a tradition. Um, Basically, before our state competition, I got parachute cord bracelets for everyone in the band as a circle and to kind of represent and symbolize how we are all connected in a group. And then they have a unique bead per marching band show, and it's a nice little trinket for us to have. And as well, so they have that as a way to remember each season and the unique aspects of each season and who we were as a team. And like the seniors from that year can remember how it went. And then following that, I also implemented a big supporter program, which pairs incoming freshmen with other seniors and juniors who have already been in the band who can help better make the freshmen feel more connected, just because that aspect of connectivity in marching band is so important. And my school, Rampart, does a very good job of community, and I just wanted to excel in that even more in the best way that I could. And so following that, there were many ways for everyone as a group to feel more connected with the bracelet and with the big supporter program and with all of the section leaders and leadership team. And I just think it's something that's so important that these can relate to outside of just band, and all of these aspects are very incredible to something where we are just high schoolers who make a show and play music, but in the end we're performing something that can reach out to many people even if you hadn't experienced it. um, so yeah, I think marching band is it was an incredible thing that I got to experience, and I'm glad that I was able to work through it.
So, do you find people that join a marching band as opposed to like an orchestra and in the school are more? It's a much more social thing. It's a more that's what they're looking for. Like the people who choose to be in those different groups. Do you find any personality differences?
Oh, most definitely. The people in marching band have tons of energy and are there many, many hours after school and before school and in the hot weather in the summer and freezing cold at football games. So it takes a strong connection and a strong type of personality to be in a group together like that.
And if you're trying to get 100 people in sync on a field, how do you? What are some quick tips for getting
Um
people in sync?
Definitely a lot of individual practice and making sure everyone's on the same page, because if a group doesn't know what's going on, then it's hard to make sure, especially with that many people.
Okay. You're listening to the Peak News. We have Rampart High School senior Irene Wich, who wishes to create a culture of connectivity here in the Springs. When we come back, we're going to be talking about how we can do that throughout the Springs. We'll be right back. Cool. Excellent.
Thank
Does that
you.
feel good?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just 2 minutes. So now we're on to page 4, segment 4.
Okay.
So you can review the questions there and think about it. Yes.
Do a play on words?
I did.
It was very clever.
Can you
It was
believe I came out
very
with just a
clever.
brilliant moment of
200 shows, and this is the first time.
we had a
I did
name.
like it.
I don't know. It's
I
the first
did
time.
like it. It was very good.
It's really good.
What's with the rant? Do we have we decided on that?
Yeah,
Do we have a
so
timing?
it was titled Bad Religious People. I don't think that's a good title.
Well, what does he call it?
What is Jim?
Yeah, I mean, how would I introduce it? I mean, he says that
Jim's cautiousness when it comes to faith to religion.
Okay.
Jim's, because like his skeptical.
Okay. Well, he says it's not my shot of whiskey, right?
Oh, he doesn't say that in there.
No, but he says that a lot.
Okay. So he's kind of skeptical about it, but not like super.
Okay. Okay, and the timing? Do we know yet?
Hey, how long is the rant? 2 minutes and 31 seconds.
Oh, so perfect.
And
Okay.
you've been going a couple seconds over.
I know I've been doing the math a little wrong. So,
So just
but if he does, I know how to stop at 5 minutes if he doesn't go long or short. So,
anyway.
okay.
Cool.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, we're back in 10. Okay. Welcome back to the Peak News. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman. It's Faith and Family Wednesday here on the Peak. And before we get back to our guest, you just heard an ad spot for our foundation, and we did. We a few months into launching back last year, we launched an educational foundation because we realized that this model that we have of citizen journalists and interns, they needed to be trained, not just dropped into nowhere. And we wanted to do it in a more formal way. And so we formed this Peak News Educational Foundation. And what's developed is now, beginning this fall in August, I'm going to be teaching, along with other media professional colleagues of mine, in the D11 school system here at Colorado Springs, a CTE career training program with high school and college credit based around broadcast journalism, teaching journalistic ethics, practical training, and plugging it into an internship here at the Peak, where the students will be involved in producing this program. And we have, Seth, who's on the board right now, coming in twice a week. We have other interns that have been working. And this is how you get jobs. You've heard me mention James. He was our first intern, got hired by Salem 6 months in at the age of 20. This is really how you get in the door. And you'll learn more going through the couple semesters of this course than I think you'll get from journalism school. And I have a degree in broadcasting, and I've learned more being, on the job training. So right now, students are determining what they're going to be studying next year. This is going to be open to juniors and seniors in the 25-26 school year, 2025-2026 school year. And you don't have to be in D11. You can, because of the way things work in Colorado, you can be in any school system. You can be a homeschooler, and this gets paid for by state money. Really, really exciting. So we need to get you signed up, at least get in that movement, because this is the time of year when those schedules are determined. And so go to thepeak.news. You'll see the link to CTE training. Check it out. There's a ton of information there. And then depending on whether you're D11, not D11, homeschool, different ways to register. But if you know a young person that wants to get really great practical training, you'll have a better resume at 18 and no debt than if you go to journalism school. I'll just say that. I'll make that commitment, is go there and sign up because we're registering for the class now. So back to Irene Wich, Rampart High School senior, who has turned her love of music into a way to create a culture of connectivity in her school band community and beyond. And we just heard about Irene's mission in the marching band and things that she's done to bring the group together. But Irene, tell us why you love music so much and why you chose school band as opposed to other ways of expressing your musical talents.
Yeah, so I love music so much because I have made so many friends from it. And music is beautiful and it's really fun to play, but I think the biggest reason is because of the people that I have been exposed to and all of the new people that I've gotten to meet, which I wouldn't have if I wasn't in music. So I chose school band out of pure luck when I was in 6th grade. I had the option to do either choir or band, and I chose band, and I picked the French horn because one of the teachers there said that I seemed like I would be good at it. And here I am now, having played it for 7 years. And so, yeah, I chose school band just because all my friends were doing it. They also chose to do band instead of choir. And I'm so thankful that I stuck with it. And because of that, I was able to do tons of things over the years, band related, and go on lots of school trips, which is also tons of fun, and bus trips. And we got to go out of town and went to Disneyland. That's another reason why I love band so much. and it gets you places. So that's what I like about it.
So I mean, I'm sure this is a common experience, but I've never asked anybody why they, love music, and they say because it's so social.
Yeah.
Generally, we think, of, all the hours practicing,
Mhm.
by yourself and all of that
Yeah.
study. So do you enjoy the French horn? I mean, has it become something that you've grown into loving, or is it more, and this is fine, whatever your answer is, or is
Mhm.
it more a means to just, being part of this great, social group that's creating music and entertainment
Oh,
together?
absolutely. I love the French horn. I love all the music making too. And it gets like even more emphasized when you're doing it with your friends. But I love making music and I've been doing lessons too to make sure that I am playing my instrument correctly.
What makes someone good on a French horn? Like, why did they think that was the instrument for you, the music teacher?
I don't know. I think she
Go.
just saw she saw something in me.
Yeah, well, it's certainly a beautiful instrument.
Yes, it's very big too.
So this culture of connectivity that you want to, you started getting into this, and then COVID, hit
Yeah.
while you were in, I guess, middle school,
Mhm.
and already your age group, because of social media, which is really unsocial media, because you're not actually face to face with people. Everybody's on their screens. That's already breaking apart connectivity and socializing.
Yeah.
But then COVID comes along, and we saw those ridiculous pictures of people in band with a slit cut in their mask, like that's doing anything. But tell us about your experience going through, pre-COVID, COVID, and now post-COVID. To what was that like for you as a young person, and how has it driven you to seek connectivity and help others find it also?
Yeah, I mean, right before COVID, it everything seemed all great and perfect and we were competing and then all of a sudden I was in my second semester of 7th grade and we were on a Zoom call trying to figure out how to all line up playing our instruments and like match it to everyone's different internet connections and then 8th grade there just wasn't band at all
Wow.
unfortunately just because we didn't have like all of the tools to do
Hmm.
so. Um, and then that was 8th grade, so then after that, I was moving on from middle school, and so I wasn't even sure if I should do band in high school just because I had such a big gap, and I'm sure many people chose not to. And I stuck with it, and following that 8th grade year, that's why it was kind of tough for me, when I was a freshman, and that's why I grew my passion for connectivity so much because I felt that disconnect, and then I was in a group of people who were all there and who were all supportive despite there being a global pandemic the year before. And then since then, we've grown as a band. We've doubled in size, if not more, from 60 my freshman year to 130 now this year. And we were able to connect to the middle schools near us too and go play for elementary schools. And so there's a huge aspect to it that I love and that we're able to grow from.
So what are the things within the marching band, and then other types of activities, that you're seeing young people in our region successfully navigating back into actual human connectivity? What's working?
Yeah, so it's definitely working on practicing together, like doing sectionals as a group. The younger people, like middle schoolers who are doing marching band for the first time, are meeting up with seniors who have tons of experience and different experiences too. And it's really great that the older seniors are able to share their experiences and share what they've learned to younger people who can then, in 5 years, 10 years, like pass that on down and just keep it growing. And it's something that's really cool.
How has the no phones in the classroom now anymore, right? So that's been a new policy
Yeah, that
this
is.
year. Has I've heard from the adult perspective that it's really helped with people talking to each other and better classroom atmosphere. What's been your impression of that, of getting rid of the screens?
Yeah, so it's definitely helped. We've had to keep our phones in these cute little parking garages for them. And it definitely creates more interaction with us in the classroom by having our phones away. With band, though, it's always been the same with or without phones, just because you don't need that sort of technology. And so that's another reason why I've loved being able to experience it. And it kind of pushes past like the social media, unsocial media part to it.
I mean, is there a pressure now to stay off from, like, especially at band? Like, if you see people, is it more like, hey, we're here,
Yeah,
spend
definitely.
time with us?
Yeah, and like it's very easy to get distracted on your phone, and it can also be kind of difficult when you're like rehearsing a set and then someone's distracted and then doesn't know what's going on,
Right.
So
Okay, well, that's good. It's good to hear that
yeah.
things are moving back. So we have about a minute or so left. Tell us about your vision for building a culture of community, past the band and
Mhm.
into art. What's your vision? Where do you think this can go?
I
This
think my
passion of yours.
vision is definitely to make sure that you stay connected. So, like, reach out to the people that you haven't talked to in a while and make sure that you're staying in touch and use social media in a way where you can stay connected and not, waste lots of time watching funny cat videos. And then also, like, go and hang out with your grandparents, go and hang out with your family, and make sure that you travel. These are all things where like I've learned to really value those from band and things that can apply outside of it and outside of school and just your life as a whole. You need to make sure that you're connecting with the people you care about.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what are your plans post high school?
My plans, I will be going into dentistry at CU Denver and CU Anschutz. I got into a program that
Congratulations.
reserves a spot for me.
What
Thank you.
what got you interested in dentistry?
Um, I have an aunt who is a dentist. She's an orthodontist, and she's someone I strive to be like. And I think there's a really cool aspect of helping people with dentistry that I want to pursue.
Okay. And we were actually just interestingly just researching careers and types of careers, and
Mm-hmm.
dentistry is up there on the money making scale too.
That
It's
is
it's about
true.
it's about the top. So congrats for choosing that. Also, well,
Thank you.
you've been listening to Irene Wich from Rampart High School talking about a culture of connectivity. When we come back here on the Peak, we're going to be getting, because we like our guests when we spend the hour with our guests to go into really other things that they're passionate about. And one of the things that Irene is crafting, and also, as this is volunteer week, not doing it for money, but gifting it to others. So when we come
Mhm.
back, Irene Wish is going to talk about her love of crafting. I'm Chaim Goldman, the Watchman, and we'll be right back with the Peak. Cool. Okay. And how did that not get here? Where did I put? Oh, the website. Forgot to give out the website for the band. That was supposed to happen.
Mm.
There it is. Okay, I'll do that at the top.
And then I will definitely hand out those flyers. My
Thank
school
you.
has a KRAM group, and they do broadcasting, and
Great.
so I think they're
And are
definitely going
you
to
are you
enjoy it.
D11 or 20? Is
I am
Rampart?
D20.
Okay. Well, anybody can sign up. It's at the Wasson campus, where I don't know if you know, it's a high school that closed down like 10 years ago, and then they turned it into sort of an entrepreneurial
Oh.
place for career training in D11. So they have hospitality, they have a culinary institute, they have IT, they have graphic design, they have aquaponics. It's
Oh.
like, it's for people that want to start getting into a trade while they're still in high school.
Mhm.
And then there's some of them have dual credit. So we're actually working to get it so that there'll be college credit and high school
Oh.
credit at the same time with Pikes Peak State College.
Yeah.
So anybody that it, it's it's not just broadcasting, really. Any type of profession where you have to research and communicate and do it ethically. So
Mhm.
public relations, marketing, even police investigate, anything where you research and have to
Yeah, like
communicate.
apply. Yeah.
I think everybody should learn these
I
skills,
think so too.
because we've lost the understanding of transferring information in a way that is ethical
Clear.
and
Yeah.
clear and isn't trying to influence people unduly
Yeah.
is important. And with all influencers and clicks, there's more of an incentive to just
Mhm.
not one. Okay, so it's beyond the broadcasting profession, and working in this environment is
Mhm.
it's real life. You got to get a show out every day, and there's
Yeah.
there's booking guests, and there's writing copy, and then there's all the social media promotion and everything. So really, you get a lot of experience in everything because it's a business. And in the second semester, we'll be helping people to launch their own podcast. So they'll actually,
Oh,
including getting sponsors and all that. So by the time they're done, they'll have like a going podcast concern.
wow.
And they're talking about putting in a podcast and radio studio over at Wasson so we can broadcast from there. We don't need to bring people back here. So
Cool.
it's cool.
It's very
I'm
cool.
I'm happy about it. We just need to get the students into it. Okay. Welcome back to the Peak. We're here on Faith and Family Wednesday, and forgot to give out the website for the marching band at Rampart High School. It's really easy, rampartmusic.com for everything. Is that more than the marching band, or is that specifically the marching band website?
It has all of our bands. We have an orchestra too.
Okay, so if you want to connect your children to this, and I have a feeling, are there people from outside? You're in D20. Are there people from outside D20 who come and be part of the band? Or?
Oh, definitely. We've had many people join hoping just for the band process.
Yeah,
too.
one of the great things in Colorado, the way the education system and this opportunity we have for teaching broadcast journalism in the schools, it's really amazing how it doesn't matter where you live. You can get whatever education is being offered. And even as homeschoolers, you can take advantage of it and use the state money to get your children educated in that. So that's very cool. So in this final segment, because I was saying, okay, Irene, we've talked about the marching band. We've done that. We've talked about connectivity, but what are some other things that you're interested in? And because this is National Volunteer Week, she said, well, people can do crafts and give them away, and she does that. So tell us, how did you get into crafting in the first place?
I got into crafting because my mom is definitely a crafter. She is very creative, and I think I got some of it from her. She's definitely more creative than I am, but she would always do these crafts and like buy them for us when I was a little kid, and then I've just always stuck with it.
So what are the crafting that you most prefer, that you
Um,
really lose yourself in?
Definitely painting, and then also I build these small miniature Japanese houses, and they're very intricate and they have lots of details, and they're like scale models of like Japanese buildings, which are very unique, like traditional Japanese
Mm-hmm.
buildings.
Out of
And then
paper or other materials? What materials do you use?
they're out of like wood pieces, so
Okay.
it's a kit, and it comes with all the tiny things that you need, but then you have to assemble it and glue everything together, and it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication.
And why do you think you enjoy that specifically? Like, do you like architecture? Is that something you like building?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I like appreciating how like different the buildings are, especially because you don't see those here, like in Colorado or in the
Oh
U.S.
yeah,
very
that's
much.
not a style here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not a style here. And then also like it's a way for me to not really focus on anything else. I can just listen to music and build these things, and it's fun and it's enjoyable.
okay, but you've chosen to do these and not keep them yourself or sell them on Etsy or something, but to give them away. How did that come about?
So I like giving them as gifts because like it started with family. So like for my grandfather's birthday or like for Christmas, I would always paint something and or like draw a picture that's really memorable to them. And then I would give it as a gift. And then in middle school, I decided like, well, what else can I do? And so I got together these plastic bags, and you can actually make pillows out of like kneading plastic bags together. And so we got those, and we would put stuffing in them, me and some friends, and then we would donate those. And so it's all about giving back when you have a talent that you enjoy or something. So yeah.
So talk about that. How has that impacted the people that you've given these to?
Yeah, so it's definitely helped with people just feeling like their day is a little brighter. So while it might not be the softest pillow or anything, it definitely shows that like we're thinking about someone else who's in a tougher situation than we are. And it can help. And also It's another thing that someone can have when you don't have much, or if you're struggling and you're in that position.
Well, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
Thank you for all that you're doing, and I hope that people have drawn inspiration from you. If you want to get more information, as I mentioned at the beginning, the reason we found out about Irene is a best and brightest segment that they're doing in the Gazette, a series that they're doing. And on this past Monday, Irene Wich was featured in there, and so you can go on Gazette.com and find more out about Irene. Irene Wich, thanks so much for being on the Peak.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And now, Jim Miller, just a guy. Jim, if you know him, he'll tell you that religion isn't his shot of whiskey. That's what he says. And today, he decided to talk about his skepticism toward religion. Jim Miller, the Peak Rants. Well, listen. Cool. Good segment. We let Jim go. Like we don't, it's basically can say whatever he wants. So we have a few minutes of commercial, and then I do the close.
Cool.
And if you stick around, I can talk about this a little more.
Mhm.
Things about the Peak.
Yeah, I want to hear
I
about
mean, I
it.
can tell you. I mean, this is the Peak itself. We're doing citizen journalism, so we're just inviting people to become part of what we're doing, either as interns or as adults that want to be citizen journalists. So we have the platform. We're building it out more to be a website, not just the radio show, because we can put a lot more content there.
I see.
The teaching the youth is really awesome because unfortunately people go off to school, college, and they become activists and not journalists, and they don't understand that you have to serve the public. And so we want to get to people and get the ethics to them before that,
No,
so
I
they can
really value that
understand,
too.
because people have decided that if they can just influence, they can get people to change their minds, and that's not what the media is supposed to be. So that, and also getting the workforce, which I didn't mention on the minimum wage, but when you can make $18 flipping burgers, it's getting interns is harder because
Right.
people are like, I mean, not most don't have the volunteer spirit that you have. So by making it part of their curriculum and giving them credit, it's also going to help our model of getting tens, hundreds of people covering the region because newsrooms are drying up as budgets are going away. So if we can create a big platform, have lots of people reporting on things they're passionate about. If you want to do school board meetings or whatever, business, pick a topic, become an expert on it, start reporting on it. And because it's local, it's hard to lie to your neighbors. One, because they're your neighbors and you don't want to get, thrown out of town. But when I was at that meeting and the report that you didn't cover it properly or whatever, we can keep people accountable in a way that on the national level you can't. How do we know what's happening in Washington or Ohio, right? They can tell us anything. So bringing it back to the local level solves a lot of the trust issues. Because if your neighbors are telling the news, the problem is, but they're not professional journalists, so they don't know these basics that you really need to know in order to do journalism properly, the legality of it, how to properly tell a story. So we're trying to find a hybrid in the middle where you don't have to go to college for 4 years. You can get some level of training, and then release them, into the community and let people try, and see how it works out as a community. So that's overall what our whole model is. Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Peak. We really want you to be part of what we're doing here. So if you have passion to tell a story, come be a citizen journalist. If there are youth in your life who want to get this journalism training, again, we're raising up interns here and formally starting in the summer in August in D11, this formal training with high school and college credit in the CTE program. And you can go to our website, thepeak.news. Tell young people about it. We're signing up people for the course. Now, looking forward to teach this. Everybody who instructs the course is actually working in the media like that day. So they're going to get real practical training, connections, everything. Go to thepeak.news, look up the CTE training, and get the young people in your life in on it. We air Monday through Thursday, so we're back tomorrow for Media and Education Thursday, and we have Matt Mormon, who's a local real estate professional, social media community builder, like that community, more community in social media, an expert in online marketing, and we're going to be talking about how to effectively use social media to promote your business. As well, if you haven't heard, with the independent newspaper and business journal being sold to J.W. Roth about a year and a half ago, well, on Monday, sold it to Dirk Hobbs of North Publishing, and Dirk's a friend of mine, and I saw him today, and he's going to be on our headline segment tomorrow to talk about what his plans are for this newspaper that was very much a left-leaning paper, now moving it more towards center. So we'll be hearing from Dirk Hobbs tomorrow on Media Day. Business and Culture Monday, when we're back, we're going to have a guest host, Brandon Eldridge, director of the Pikes Peak Small Business Development Center, and his guest is Savan Stryker, COO of Bob Pencas Mazda, that's been operating in the Springs for about 60 years, so talking about the car business. Coming up next here on The Answer is the Larry Elder Show. Stick around for that. Check out our 200-plus podcasts on our website, thepeak.news. The Peak, we say the quiet stuff out loud, and with your help, we're saying it even louder for such a time as this. Shalom.